In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, are we live? Not quite. Okay. I'm a little wound up in case you don't get it today. Weather is beautiful out there, but we got a lot to talk about. One of the things I do want to talk about today is if you are looking at returning things, you better be careful because some stores have actually started charging restocking fees. And I was asleep at the switch on this, I guess. Now, I don't know if you bought it through Amazon, if it's changed any, but buying through individual stores has kind of changed. Let's see, do I still have that? Come on, don't tell me I don't have that story up here. It was a story about some places are charging up to $45 to return items. So I thought I would kind of try to hit that for you, but we may have to find that story here in just a second because that was a story that I thought was pretty darn interesting out there, and how they are trying to make up for the cost of returning it. Now, of course, when you return it to a drop-off place like up here at Kohl's, you can turn it off, do that there. That makes a difference. Let's try that. Is that better? That is much better, Ann. Okay, I got the number. I got it fixed now. Well, I was talking about, in case you couldn't really hear me because I had the wrong thing on. Anyways, there are stories out there about costs of returning stuff. So many times we buy stuff with the understanding, and I'm guilty of it too, well, if I don't like it, I'll just return it, right? But with Christmas here, I don't know whether this is a Christmas thing or if it is something that we're going to see in the future. But some individual stores are starting to charge for returns. And I saw some places that were charging like up to I don't know, like $45 or a percentage of it. So be careful out there. And if you're buying stuff, maybe you ought to be careful and make sure that you have found the correct, you've checked that. Make sure you check that. All right. Well, anyways, that's one of the stories that I found very interesting out there. So far, it hasn't come back up on my feed, but I know it will. It was a story in the New York Post. I get all their stuff, and I tell you what, it is always amazing, all the stories that come from the New York Post. If you want crazy, you can have crazy. If you want serious, you can have serious. If you want the weird but true stories, you can have that too. So anyways, I kind of like finding some of the news through that. But we'll get to that story in a second because I hope I can find it. But the bottom line is, we had a great Christmas yesterday. Penny enjoyed herself tremendously. Everybody remembered Penny for Christmas. But I got to tell you, I got a very cool gift for Christmas. One that I had no idea about. Have you seen, I don't think I have it right here on my desk, the challenge coins for the 250th anniversary? Now, this is a coin that actually is not round like most challenge coins are. It's in the shape of the United States of America. It's black and it has 250 in it. So cool. And I got that as a gift. I just want to say that was a very, very, very cool gift. Challenge coins, I mean, I have quite a collection of them. I really love them. And the very fact that I've been gifted by so many people is really special too. So, but I had not seen this new one that is in the shape of the United States of America. You know, I'm going to veer off here. We talk about the United States of America, right? But the thing about it is, we're not very united. Just thinking about this, we are not very united. When we talk about the United States of America, we like to think, right, that we are all on the same page. But that is not true. Most of the time, across this United States, whether you are a blue school or whether you are whether you are a blue state or a red state, things can be very, very different. So I just thought I would mention that. As I think about the United, you think about us all being on the same front. Not really. And we certainly are diverse right now, When we look at the news, the attack that was in Nigeria against ISIS, because of ISIS killing of Christians, we go in on Christmas and kill a bunch of them. So that's an interesting approach, you got to admit. And to do it on Christmas, how do you actually feel about the fact of doing that on Christmas? I don't know. Do you think that was a good statement? Had anybody even thought about it from that standpoint? I'm not sure. Because most everybody, is talking about, it's a great thing and everything, and it is a great thing to go ahead and make their point of view. But when I just think about doing it on Christmas, what kind of message does that actually, send? Hard for me to really put that in words because I'm kind of conflicted on it. It was supposed to be Christmas, and yet we go in and destroy a bunch of ISIS to protect the Christians. So from that standpoint, that's a good thing. But from the other point, it's kind of hard to rectify, isn't it? But anyways, that is exactly what is happening. Trump launches Christmas night airstrike in Nigeria. So anyways, that's what they did, and I guess we will at some point see the results of this. And of course, President Trump is saying that this is definitely was a good strike, but I don't know. I kind of wonder, where are we at on some of this stuff? And this probably might be unpopular. And, I am a Trump supporter, but are we going to... It seems to me that we are becoming the aggressor in trying to solve some of these things. Good thing to try to solve it. But are we going to war with nations around the world? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I only bring this up because it does seem like it's a little, seems like kind of a dichotomy of what we're doing. Yes, we're out there protecting the little people that can't defend themselves, i.e. the Christians in Nigeria. But we're also becoming intensely more aggressive in things that we do. So what do you think? 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. That is our text line for text and voice line. You can leave a voice message. It turns it into a text. Makes it real easy for me to find this. So, anyways, that's a topic there. And on a lighter note, House Republicans declare Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is definitely a Republican. Did you read that story? Probably not one that was high on your list, huh? Did you read it? House Republicans declare Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer definitely a Republican. This is an interesting story going to the fact of what is a Republican, I guess, and how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer qualifies. The official X account for the Republican-led House Judiciary Committee posted a Christmas Eve message Wednesday night declaring Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is definitely a Republican. The committee, chaired by Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio, included in its post a list of qualities it determined prove that Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, is indeed definitely a Republican. Doubted by the elites, reads the list, pulled himself up by his bootstraps, faced adversity, carried the team when others couldn't, definitely a Republican. And that is the definition of a Republican, FYI, in case you didn't know. Including Jordan, the House Committee on the Judiciary consists of 25 Republicans and 19 Democrats. The Democratic side, led by Ranking Member Representative Jamie Raskin, also has a presence on X. On Wednesday night, in stark contrast to its GOP counterpart, House Judiciary Democrats posted a message continuing a series of posts of theirs titled, "The Plot to Overthrow the 2020 Elections, The Road to January 6 Insurrection," referring to January 6, 2021, when a pro-Trump mob stormed the U.S. Capitol. Okay. They go on. 5 years ago today, the Post read, on Christmas Eve, President Donald Trump escalated his false claims of rigged election publicly, blah, blah, blah. So that was the take that they took on it, while the Republicans took the take that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I would have thought just the fact, nowhere in there did they even mention his red nose. So I guess that might qualify as being a Republican. But I really thought that was kind of interesting. Nobody actually asked Rudolph. It's just his actions that made him a Republican. So he was doubted by the elites. So therefore that made him a Republican. Pulled himself up by his bootstraps. That made him a Republican. We're talking about Rudolph here. Faced adversity. That made him a Republican. Carried the team when others couldn't. Definitely a Republican. What do you think about that? Penny says, I don't know, Ann. I thought that was pretty interesting. What do you think? 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. Do you think that Rudolph is definitely a Republican? That is the question. I don't know. So could be interesting, could be missing, could be interesting. We did have that echo. We've taken care of that. That's right. So here we are. Just a few little crazy stories in the news. I think it is terrific that the whole world stops on Christmas. I mean, yes, people are moving around, going from house to house, but still, all the, I'll say the retail, the grocery stores, the businesses, everybody takes a day. I wonder, and I remember a time, I don't know what Penny's barking about. Anyways, I remember a time when the stores were closed on Sunday, and there was something nice about it. I think we have forgotten how peaceful it is to not have to have the excuse that we need to go somewhere. And I think also we take time that we could go ahead and get something done, right? But we wait because, we can do it tomorrow. We can go to the grocery store at 10 o'clock at night. But I wonder what would happen if we shrunk some of this time back. would we feel that we had more time? But that, of course, goes against capitalism and free doing whatever you want type thing. But it is so nice on Christmas, and there's a couple of other days, not many, where we just shut everything down. Easter, there's another one where we just really shut everything down. Grocery stores close, everything closes. And you have to be prepared for the fact that everything is going to be shut down. There is something nice about it, and I definitely appreciate it. All right, so yesterday morning, we did a nice little show, a music show. Didn't go live on Facebook, just did a music show on the radio for those that were in need of some Christmas spirit. We had a good time doing that. Yesterday, I think I had the Christmas story running constantly on TV yesterday so that I could zoom in and watch pieces of the Christmas story when I wanted, right? And so I enjoyed that. I think it was like maybe 12 o'clock or something they were running. I had heard about this, but I'd never seen it. The Christmas story, part 2 or something, where his dad dies, he's grown up, and he and his family go back to stay with his mom for Christmas. Very different, very different. I've never seen that story, and I was trying to watch it, but I was saying, I need to go to bed. But I got to check that one out. Have you ever seen, I guess it's part 2, because it was called The Christmas Story, or whatever, where they go back and he has died, the dad has died, and so have you ever seen that? I had never seen it. I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it. But it was playing last night. After they'd played the Christmas story for 24 hours continuously, they decided to play part 2. So, anyways. That's what I did yesterday. I played outside with Penny a lot. It was a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, 75 degrees. Hard to believe it was Christmas. I sent some messages up north. 75 degrees here in Greenwood. Was looking at the weather this morning. Up there in Paris, Maine, it is 3 degrees. 3 degrees. They are looking at a high, I might add, of 18 degrees. But here in Greenwood today, it is 56 degrees, feels like 55. We are headed for a high today of 69. That's not too bad at all. Plentiful sunshine, may have a few clouds coming through. Saturday is going to be a high of 76, a low of 54, and plentiful sunshine. Sunday, high of 61. Low of 57. Monday will be a high of 64 and a low of 30. And this is where the temperatures start to come back down and moderate a little bit. Tuesday is a high of 49, low of 25, although we have plentiful sunshine. Maybe a little rain on Monday, but nothing Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And then we go back up into the mid-50s, so it'll moderate some. But we're back into winter weather for Greenwood next week. However, we are looking at some really bad weather if you are in other parts of our country. In Paris, Maine, right now it is 7 degrees. They are looking for a high of 17. That's terrible. All right. Interesting. I was just looking at Asheville this morning. Asheville is right now 56 degrees. They're looking at a high of 58. So that's what they're looking at. Cloudy skies. A lot of people have been going up to Asheville just for some Christmassy type little travel. Cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower, high of 58. Saturday is going to be a high of 69 and a low of 47. Sunday, high of 60, low of 51. Now that's in Asheville. But in Paris, Maine, right now, They're looking at a high of 17, a low of 7 degrees, low of 7 degrees. Unbelievable. And why can't I get rid of that? Okay. That's what we have going there. I was going to try to show you something else, but you ever got one of those ads and you can't figure out how to get rid of it until all of a sudden the X comes up, or sometimes the X doesn't come up and you just can't get rid of it and they just make you click on it? God, it makes me irritated. Anyways, Paris, Maine. Okay, high of 17 or 18 degrees today. Mostly sunny. Winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. 7 degrees will be the low. Saturday, a high of 23, low of 10. They do expect to have some sunshine up there. Sunday, a high of 36, a low of 19. But nowhere in there do they talk about any snow until Monday. Monday, snow during the morning giving way to freezing rain during the afternoon. This is deadly up there. High of 33. Chance of precipitation, 100%. Snow and ice accumulations, 1 to 3 inches. That is deadly type weather up there in Maine, particularly because just like when we get the ice down here, if they have the ice, the power's going to go out, and then they will also have freezing temperatures. So thank goodness we are right here in South Carolina. That's just a little fun, looking at temperatures from different places. I know, let's just for the heck of it. Right now it is 56 in Myrtle Beach. They are looking for a high of 62. So weather has been really, really nice. Makes you appreciate the fact you live in South Carolina, doesn't it? So that's a little story there about the weather. They are looking at some very bad weather. If you are out there getting ready to travel, if you're trying to get home, this weather out there, they say, is going to be pretty terrible out there. Traveling could be a mess. I don't know if you were listening on WCRS earlier this morning, but they were talking about how bus travel has really picked up as a good way to travel, and how buses actually are having nicer seats, more leg room, clean. They're even having snacks on the bus. Anybody taken a bus lately and said, wow, this is pretty nice? Because you used to think of buses as, ugh, who wants to ride on the bus? But they're saying that people are really going to taking the bus. Easy to get to. The only thing that ever, quote, screws up the schedule on a bus is the fact of traffic. They say, and I thought this was an interesting point, that buses can always add an extra bus, whereas a plane only can have one plane flying that route, but a bus can do this. They're saying in some of these buses are actually having leather seats and really nice. So, but there does seem to be a length length. How many miles? What were they saying? 50 to maybe 150, 200 miles. So. And someone just said some school field trips use charter buses. If they're going somewhere that's more than an hour or two away, they are very nice. Well, that's true. I can remember riding a bus, the charter bus that was used to take a group, and then we joined the charter, and the buses were very, very nice. But they say buses really are something to consider. Something else to consider is Tesla driving driverless cars. I am anxiously awaiting to see my friend that is buying a driverless Tesla, how this is going to work. I visited with her the other day, and since she's been telling people she was getting this car, that people are saying, well, I'll ride with you then when we go this place, and I'll ride with you. And so she said she's going to be the most popular person around as far as who's riding with who and taking a trip. So that's an interesting idea. Let's all pile into so-and-so's car and we'll go, and she won't really have to drive, so she won't really be that tired. But I don't know. Do you really feel comfortable about a driverless car? Do you really feel that you can let this car just drive you to your destination? The idea sounds great. 30 years ago, we were talking about the idea of having driverless cars. Well, now that they're here, how many people feel comfortable with a driverless car? They've had some issues with them, and they are constantly working to improve them. But when a driverless car does something wrong, the question is, whose fault is it? I mean, we've had some things where driverless cars have had accidents. Maybe they haven't stopped when they should have stopped. Not necessarily crashes so much, but wasn't there a story where they ran over a person that was in the road? Some of these type of things. So I wonder what your insurance rates are on a driverless car. I mean, do they take into account your driving record, or do they take into the account the car's driving record? Anyways, I just was thinking, I hadn't even thought about that. But when you buy car insurance, how do you buy car insurance? Based on the driver or based on the car's driving record? Well, let me check your Tesla here. Let's see. It had an accident yesterday, backed into this yesterday. Now, we're going to have to charge you more if you're going to let that Tesla drive. When we have high school students or under 25 or maybe under 21, I don't know what it is. But kids pay a much higher rate for driving. Question, does a Tesla get an advantage or a disadvantage from driving? That is the question. How do you, if there's any insurance people listening there, I would love to know how Teslas, or maybe I can ask that question. Maybe I can just ask that question and see. How are Teslas graded for insurance? Don't you think that's an interesting question? Because it all goes into the cost. I guess, though, if you're buying a Tesla, I guess you can afford whatever the insurance is. Let's see if I can ask this while we're on. How do insurance companies, here we go, companies rate driverless Teslas for driverless Teslas? Okay, for rates. Okay, let's just put that in there and see what comes back. See if we can get an answer. Of course, this is just going across. Okay, here we go. Here's a clear explanation of how insurance companies currently treat driverless or self-driving equipped Teslas when setting rates. Insurance companies look at a few main things when pricing your premium, such as your driving record, where you live, your credit score in most states, and the risk associated with the specific vehicle you drive. For Teslas, that's just how they look at coming up with your driving how much they're going to charge you for insurance in the United States. For Teslas and their advanced driver assist systems, Tesla own insurance offers discounts for full driving usage. Tesla has an in-house insurance product in certain states. I wonder if we have that in South Carolina. It says Arizona, Texas, California, etc. With this program, if you use Tesla's supervised full self-driving feature a lot, you can get a discount. up to around 10% on parts of your premium based on the percentage of your miles that you drive with your full self-driving engaged. The discount applies only to certain coverages and isn't automatically across your entire insurance cost. Traditional insurers, so that's if you insure through Tesla. Traditional insurers still evaluate risk, not just tech names. Most mainstream insurance companies, State Farm, Progressive, Geico, etc., don't give a self-driving credit simply because the car has the full self-driving feature or autopilot. They consider repair costs. Teslas can be expensive to fix. Crash data over time. If autonomous or assisted driving features truly reduce accident frequency or severity, that could reduce your future premiums. Many insurers use usage-based programs that track actual driving behavior, speeding, braking, mileage, which is similar in spirit to how Tesla adjusts rates. That's right. I just had to let them say, yes, you're listening to WCRS, and yes, we're live on Facebook too, at WCRS Radio. Okay, this is rather interesting. Self-driving today is still mostly assisted. Tesla's full driving system is not fully autonomous. It's a supervised advanced driver assist system, level 2, meaning the driver must stay alert and ready to take control. Because of that, insurers still treat the driver as primarily responsible. Oh, so you can't say my Tesla did it. You're responsible. Any rate benefit tied to technology usually comes from how safely you actually drive, not just because the car has a self-driving feature. Interesting. This is kind of interesting. Because of that, okay, let's see. Who offers special Tesla-branded insurance, uses real-time driving data, and offers that full self-driving feature discounts in select states. Traditional carriers may offer safe driving discounts. Bottom line, there isn't a universal rule that self-driving features automatically lower insurance rate. Insurers base premiums on actual risk and cost data, not just technology branding. Tesla's own insurance does reward actual use of the supervised full driving feature system with discounts in certain states. Interesting. In general, advanced safety tech can help lower claims over time, which could lead to lower future premiums industry-wide, but that is evolving. What do you think about that? I think that's pretty fascinating. You're still responsible, even though. So I guess, and it really looks like you would be better off to try to insure through Tesla's insurance, although I mean, that's just what this thing off the internet says, but that makes sense. That makes sense, and it makes sense that they would have to have their own insurance to help get this rolling. So that is something to consider. All right, now let's see if I can find that story I wanted to share with you about returns, since a lot of people are going to be returning stuff because of gifts that they got, maybe gifts you bought yourself. I don't know. It's a story about cost of returns. Okay, we'll see if we can find that story real quick, and then we're going to talk about a couple of other things. Yep, retailer costs are going up. Major retailers are now charging shoppers to return holiday gifts, and those fees can be high, even up to around $45 per item. That's especially true for mailed returns, while in-store returns often remain free. So, there you go. You may have to stand in a line to return, but it won't cost you the way it could to return. It says, for example, stores like Macy's, JCPenney, and others are now charging return fees ranging roughly from $3.99 to $11.99 for items sent back by mail. And some big-ticket tech stores like Best Buy are hitting customers with hefty restocking fees on opened electronics. This is what I wanted to talk about, because sometimes we do think, so when you're ordering something on the internet, you need to make sure you check that return policy, because I have been in a situation where I just said, oh yeah, well, if I don't like it, I'll send it back. I was looking at a really nice coffee maker the other day, brand new, and it was a cappuccino machine. Okay, I'll say it. It was a cappuccino machine. And I was thinking of upgrading mine, and I said, well, this one looks pretty neat. Now let me check the return policy, and it says returns not accepted. Right there was a killer for me. You could not return it. But an interesting point, and this was on Amazon. On Amazon, if you if you got a refurbished one, they would take that back. I decided to pass on the whole thing because it kind of shocked me that you could not return a coffee maker if there was an issue and it was brand new. And it says, why the shift? Why, for a while there, particularly during COVID and after COVID, this is where buying online really took a real step up. But retailers say return costs have soared. Processing returns can cost nearly 40% of the item's original price, which is sometimes when you talk about sending something back for a return that they say, oh, just keep it, right? Because it costs them more. And they won't charge you, but it's more than what the item is. And online shopping has ramped up return volumes. The surge returns has led many stores to tighten policy and charge fees to help them recoup expenses. So if you're thinking about returning something and you might think twice or head to the store in January instead. So I think that's a very good point to make sure when you're looking up something, make sure that A, it is returnable, and B, are there any charges for returning it? I tell you another point that I have found. I bought something on Amazon, and I thought, well, if it's not what I want, I can just take it up there to Kohl's and it won't be any big deal. I don't even really have to repackage it, just put it back in the box. Well, I went to return it, and you had to ship it to the original store. You could not return it through Amazon. And that I did it because it was a relatively expensive item, but I did not anticipate that. So now whenever I'm buying anything of any size or anything, or any dollars, I always make sure that I check what the return policy is. Many of you know when I bought my electric bicycle, that I almost killed myself on. This was several years ago. What was it, 3 years ago, maybe? And I decided I wanted an electric bicycle. I was so excited about this, and I thought I'd found the best price, and I said, I'm going to do it. So I just pushed a button and did it. Got that bicycle, was really excited about it. Had Diane come, we put it together. I climbed on that bike. I could not ride it. Number one, it was too heavy for me. I think it weighed about 60, 70 pounds. Number two, my feet could never touch the ground. So I was constantly, and if I went to make a turn, if I went to go, I was going over. This really bruised my ego. I'll just tell you that. Well, then I finally decided there's just no way. I'm going to have to send it back. I cannot use this. Well, I was able to sell it. I was very blessed to be able to sell it because when I checked out trying to return it, they wanted, I was supposed to pay for the return, even though on their website it said return it for free or something like that. That led me to believe it was free. But when I went to return it, they told me, oh, no, ma'am, you've got to pay it. So I was blessed to be able to. I have found a smaller model that I am looking at. I'm kind of excited. I've got to try it out. And it is at Flyby Bicycles. I highly recommend them to check it out. But I am kind of excited. They said it's for kids, Ann. I said, what does kids have to do with it? I'm short. So I may be getting one of those, and I'll keep you apprised on that. All right. There you go. That's just another story about things that are happening in the news. I think that we do need to slow down a little bit. We need to try to enjoy life a little more. And this year, one of the things that I plan to do, last year, I thought I was so smart getting a puppy, Princess Penny. I've spent the whole year trying to turn her into something that's a good companion. She's finally getting there. But it was rough this last year, I'll just admit it. Between trying to satisfy her needs and trying to satisfy my needs, doing this job and being in the radio business and all the projects that I like to get involved in, it's been rough. Now, Penny was a year in November, and she's finally coming around to what I think she should be. But it's been a rough year. I'm looking for a little more peace in my life this year. I'm looking for some interesting projects that we're going to be working on, and I have some interesting projects that I'm not going to tell you about today, but I am working on. So, have you been thinking about what you want to do this year and how what is happening in the federal government, what will be happening in our state government and in our local government, how that's going to affect you? I think part of the thing that I think that I enjoy doing is keeping you informed on what is happening. And I plan to be working very hard on how to keep you informed on whether it's local, city government, county government, projects that are going on, things that are changing in Greenwood. That's going to be one of the focuses. State government, they're getting ready to go back. They've got all kinds of wonky ideas about what they think they should be doing. I plan to stay on top of that and keep you informed in the loop on that. And on the federal government, not so much all the nitty-gritty day in and day out, because I find that it gets tiresome, but things that really will eventually affect us. And I use the word eventually because sometimes we get so wrapped up in what the federal government is doing that we forget about our state and local, our local. And I think it is important. I think it is important to mention these things, but I think in the long range they don't affect us as much as we tend to think they do, or the media tends to think that we are affected by it. So that's kind of where I plan to be this year. Of course, I plan to do the wonky and the crazy stories. We're going to be doing a lot more interviews. We're going to be doing live video, but also more recorded live video interviews that we can bring back and play on the air too. So that's what I'm looking at. Penny says she's ready to take over as chief host here on the I Love Ann show and meet me at the diner. So we'll see what she's actually capable of. Let's see. As we finish up here today, I did have a couple of quotes. You know, I really regret the fact that I was not into history as much. Um, I think if I had been into history in today's world, maybe I would understand some of the things better. Because I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time going back and trying to understand what it is that is coming. And they say that history has a tendency to repeat itself. And sometimes I look at what's happening and I'll say, yeah, that's what is happening. So, quote for today. You never really understand a person. Well, that's the truth. Let's see if I can find the whole quote here. You never really understand a person until you consider things from their point of view. Isn't that the truth? So many times we take it from our point of view instead of looking at where that person is exactly at. The statement reflects a central idea that runs through, and this was said by Harper Lee's most celebrated work, To Kill a Mockingbird. At its heart, the quote advocates empathy as a moral discipline rather than a passive emotion. I'll read that again. At its heart, the quote advocates empathy as a moral discipline rather than a passive emotion. It urges readers to stop beyond surface judgments and engage with the lived realities of others. Isn't that part of the problem? We are so quick to judge people based on where we are in our lives and never stopping to look at where they come from and what their reality is. And while we have laws that state that things are supposed to be a certain way, sometimes if we understood where a person came from, we might be able to figure it out instead of reacting with this visceral anger that we have in society that I know after Christmas, at least after the first of the year, is going to start coming back. Maybe we could understand where they're coming from. That doesn't have to do with Democrat or Republican. That just has to do with a human response to people. In contemporary discourse, where quick opinions often replace thoughtful understanding, the quote resonates as both guidance and caution. It suggests that true comprehension is impossible without the willingness to see the world through another's experiences, struggles, and limitations. The quote of the day highlights the idea that empathy is learned, not instinctive. Harper Lee presents understanding as an active process, one that requires imagination and moral effort. Simply observing others is insufficient. One must mentally inhabit their circumstances to grasp their motivations and actions. The quote also challenges social hierarchies and prejudice by asking readers to consider another point of view. What do you think about that? You never really understand a person until you consider things from their point of view. That was Harper Lee that said that many years ago. There's another quote about unless you walk a mile in somebody's shoes, you can never really understand where they're coming from. All of those things are the same thing. But you know, we do seem to have forgotten that. We do seem to jump quickly to accuse somebody of their opinions. Now, when we're talking about politics, totally different. Totally different. Shouldn't be, but totally different because people are so hard left or hard right, there doesn't seem to be any middle ground. But if we understood more, maybe we could make better decisions. I think that's the bottom line on that. And I kind of like that. I really do kind of like that. So, as we go forth, tomorrow is the big football game. That's right. The Pinstripe Bowl will be in full force tomorrow, starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So there will not be a show. There will not be a Trash to Treasure show tomorrow. I will be back on Monday with lots of news and lots of things to share with you, and hopefully some adventures. I'm hoping to go on an adventure Saturday afternoon. Looking forward to that. So that'll be kind of fun to do. I do hope you get out and check out some of the lights out there. There really are some good ones. Actually, I think I'm supposed to be going up there to Greenville and go on some of the light things that are going on up there. I want to go up there and see the ice skating. Yes, the ice skating. So looking forward to that too. And in closing, I would like to say that the front page of the Index Journal says unexpected state honor reaches Rice Elementary School. This is a pretty cool thing that has happened. Visibly surprised, let's see, Heather Callahan, a first grade teacher at Eleanor S. Rice Elementary School, receives a state-issued check through the Excellence in Teaching Awards. All teachers, regardless of the subject they teach, put in long hours and tremendous efforts. This, again, is from the Index Journal. Their days often begin before sunrise and extend long before the final bell. To acknowledge that commitment, the Excellent in Teaching Awards pilot program was established. This initiative recognizes educators in high-poverty schools whose students demonstrate measurable academic growth on standardized assignments, with state officials viewing the program as a potential tool to support teacher retention. Greenwood County School District 50 applied to participate in the pilot program during the 24-25 school year, submitting 5 elementary schools and 1 middle school for consideration. In February 2025, the district was notified that Eleanor S. Rice had been selected as its representative. Teachers of Rice were not informed in advance that the school had been chosen. It wasn't like they were told ahead of time, Shane Goodwin, superintendent, said. They just did their hard work that all of our teachers do every single day. So, in December, 22 educators at Rice Elementary were recognized for demonstrating student academic growth. Collectively, they received more than $200,000 in performance-based bonuses for their work during the 24-25 school year. How about that? That is tremendous. Individual awards issued as paper checks from the State Department of Education ranged from $510 to $33,000 before taxes. Award amounts were determined by student growth and proficiency in reading and math from the beginning to the end of school year, using new AMAP results for kindergarten through 3rd grade and SC Ready for grades 4th and 5th grades. The funds were provided by the state and did not come from district resources. The state sent the funds to the district, which then printed and distributed the checks. Statewide, about 400 teachers across 37 schools received awards in the first round of the pilot program, with more than $2.5 million distributed. The Department of Education has since secured an additional $5 million to continue the program during the 25-26 school year and plans to expand participation. How about that? That is tremendous. That is tremendous. So, Goodwin said, let's see, Shane Goodwin said, the experience highlighted the celebration and the limitation of the pilot, particularly for educators who were not eligible due to subject area or school selection. He stressed that teachers are not motivated by bonuses, but by their commitment to students. That is just correct. That is just terrific. That is just terrific. So when we think about what we're doing about education, the teachers are at the base of the tree, growing the tree, are the roots, I guess. You know, we talk about in blues music, the blues is the roots, the rest is the fruits. I think we could take that phrase and take it, the teachers are the roots, the rest is the fruits. If we didn't have teachers that were committed to helping these students, how would we ever make a difference in where we are with education? And with so many things happening in education, right? With so many things happening in education, we do need to make sure that our students are getting the education so that they can compete futuristically in this world that is changing so fast. None of us can actually understand what's happening. So I think that is terrific. Congratulations to all who are getting checks or have gotten checks. We'll have to see if we can get a list. I think that is really terrific. This article in the Index Journals just kind of gave you a overview of it, but I would love to be able to congratulate those teachers on the air publicly. So, when we think about education, when we think about our kids, we certainly hope they are getting prepared, and if these type of bonuses can be given out to make a difference futuristically, I think that is terrific. And I think it is great that Greenwood is participating in some of these programs to give them the opportunity to shine. So, with that being said, I'm going to say, have a great day. As I said, I'm going to try to, I think I'm supposed to go to Greenville tomorrow. I'll be reporting back on if we got to see any exciting light displays or anything like that. If anybody can tell me of any light displays right here in Greenwood, I'd love to be able to put that out. And I hope you're going to leave them up at least till what? Till New Year's? That's Thursday, folks. We'll be welcoming a new year in on Thursday. So I certainly hope that you will be able to share some of your light experiences and let us know what is out there. So these are the things that I think make it so much fun to be able to enjoy what we have here in our own community and our surrounding communities. So with that being said, have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the weekend. As I said, I will not be doing a show tomorrow. I am going to take a day off. I even was probably the only person that was live on the air on Christmas Day. So how about that? Do you believe there was anybody else live on the air on Christmas Day? Probably not. Most everything I heard was the best of, the best of, the best of. Well, it wasn't the best of, but it was me on Christmas Day live on the air with you. But anyways, have a great day. Enjoy some of this great weather. Get to see friends and families. And think about what you want for the new year. Sometimes we just got to slow down, stop, and think about it. So take a little time to think about that too. That's it for me. And we are going to put the curtain down and we are going to play the exit music and have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.